Welcome to Group 6's presentation. Our members consist of Jawad, Vesna, and Patricia. Our main topic is pedagogical strategies that facilitate student engagement. Our subtopics can be seen on the slide. We will be discussing our findings that emerged from our collective action research, and we will be outlining limitations and future steps. Our three common themes are, as extracted from our collective literature reviews and data analysis, are based on secondary teacher feedback, and they are: first, the importance of knowing students and their needs. Secondly, the importance of equipping ourselves with multiple student-centered and active classroom teaching strategies. And thirdly, the role and qualities of an effective teacher, such as teacher knowledge, communication, confidence, and reflection. Our main themes draw on the professional teacher standards and three domains: professional knowledge, practice, and engagement. In the coming slides, the discussion of our three underlying themes is underpinned by relevant theory, educational policy, various methods, and implementation strategies, whereby teacher standards can be naturally implemented into lessons to achieve student engagement and outcomes.
We have broken down our literature review into the following categories: theory, frameworks, student needs, pedagogies, and teacher's role. These will be discussed in the following slides in depth.
Through the work of Vygotsky, and indeed his well-regarded concept, the zone of proximal development, we come to understand the notion of student readiness and what Tomlinson describes as the +1 learning concept. That is, the point at which learning takes place. There is a direct correlation between adolescent cognitive development, or higher order thinking, and socio-emotional development, that is, concepts of memory and learning that can provide educators with valuable insight into how adolescents learn and how the brain processes and stores information. Now, this is especially important to consider when creating and planning lessons and personalising teaching practices with the aim of achieving student engagement. Some examples include pre-planning lessons with considered lesson hooks. This strategy is easily applied in person and digitally and can be customised to the needs and interests of the students. Further, customising classroom instruction and providing students with a few noted choices of preconceived activities to engage various student levels and interests. This also gives students the illusion of control and independence and allows room for accountability. Other engaging and active classroom activities, as noted by our research participants, and in line with Vygotsky's theory, include mixed level group work, gamification, differentiation of product and for assessment, and scaffolding classroom activities according to student readiness, interest, and learning profile. And finally, we note that both group work and scaffolding practices are two widely used approaches conceived from Vygotsky's early concepts, used for classroom differentiation and student engagement.
In addition to Vygotsky, two very important frameworks stood out in our literature reviews, the first being the Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. This is a flexible and adaptable framework that promotes effective teaching and learning practices and provides students with meaningful and challenging learning opportunities. UDL focuses on the why, what, and how via the multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and multiple means of action and expression. The first principle, engagement, directly correlates with our main topic. By differentiating the curriculum, students are provided with learning flexibility and diverse pathways, as well as increased levels of engagement, thus enabling them to succeed. The quality teaching framework is the second framework that was mentioned in our literature reviews. Along with the Australian professional teaching standards, it guides teachers to effectively challenge and support students in meaningful and authentic ways through flexible design and practice. It is also used to inform teachers' practice in a way that it would improve their work and it would make them more effective. According to Gore and Ladwig, teachers' confidence and optimism, or lack thereof, can either positively or negatively impact their performance and lesson delivery. Implementation of the quality teaching model would enable teachers to enhance their lessons, thus improving the quality of their teaching, which should consequently strengthen the teacher's identity and role in the classroom.
The Australian Professional Teaching Standards states that as teachers, we need to know our students and how they learn. This is vital for engaging students in classrooms. Once we know our students' need, we can prepare appropriate work to keep them interested in the subject. We live in the technology era, and therefore we should utilize ICT more often in our lesson plans. Teaching content through online games has been very effective, mentioned one of the math teachers, which ties closely with the literature. Students may come from different cultural and educational backgrounds, and hence acknowledging these differences and respecting them would assist in engaging them in class tasks. One of the important ways of engaging students in class is the use of various pedagogies. Active learning was found to be an effective method in the literature, and involving students in group work or collaboration was argued to be the most effective strategy through our research. Another teaching tool for engagement was found to be differentiated tasks and providing a scaffolding for students that need it. Finally, assessment is a great tool to assess students' learning and evaluate the engagement in tasks. Many of our participants mentioned that traditional methods of assessment seem to be outdated, and new ways of assessing students must be implemented, such as online quizzes or project-based tasks.
From our collective data analysis, we learned that effective teachers are well-informed and take a proactive approach to planning and getting to know their students. Our research participants used a variety of student-centered teaching and learning strategies to engage and support their students to reach their individual learning goals. Examples of this were setting and communicating appropriate learning intentions and success criteria, high expectations, ongoing assessment, coupled with regular specific feedback to students, interesting topics and others. Importantly, we noted our data findings revolved around the teacher, in particular, the significance of deeper knowledge and understanding of pedagogical practices, concepts, their students, the curriculum, and other factors important in lesson planning and meeting the needs of all their students. When asked about important teacher qualities and teaching approach, one of the participants replied, quote, "Good communication and feedback is key. I use student-centered strategies tailored to the individual needs of my students, their learning styles, their interests and strengths. It is also important to build good rapport with my students and use strength-based approaches, that is, positive praise and reinforcement," unquote.
Now let's move on to the methodology. The action research was conducted by 3 pre-service teachers with the joint purpose of investigating some of the pedagogical strategies that facilitate student engagement. Our group solicited responses from 12 informants, all secondary teachers from a range of key learning areas with various teaching experiences. Pseudonyms were used to protect the respondents' privacy when jointly analysing the data. The data itself was collected by 2 means: surveys and interviews. The correct protocol was followed in terms of obtaining consent. The chosen research method was both quantitative and qualitative, but descriptive too, as it set out to gather data at one specific point in time in order to provide explanatory and descriptive evidence regarding the uses and effectiveness of active learning, differentiation, and ICT, with the sole purpose to promote student engagement in the classroom. So, what are some of the findings that emerged from our data analysis? There were 3 main categories which derived from the informant's responses, and they were the teacher's role, teaching strategies, and student-centered instruction. These categories remain closely aligned with our overarching group themes that promote student engagement. The participants discussed these three categories and their related aspects to an almost equal proportion, namely 24%, 36%, and 40% respectively. All of the participants argued that student engagement increases via student-centered active instructional strategies, which provide choice and opportunity for all students. For instance, active learning methods like group work and peer collaboration, gamification, doing rather than passively listening, differentiation, and use of ICT are all used to enhance the learning process. In addition to this, the teacher's role, their knowledge and skill set, as well as effective planning and communication practices were noted as very important and being the underlying drivers in this process. Two specific examples provided were as follows. Example 1, it's important to keep up to date with trends and growth of technology, ideas, apps, and programs to facilitate current learning needs. Example 2, students were given a speaking task to present, and they were also given the opportunity to present verbally, for instance, by using cue cards or visually. That means a PowerPoint presentation with photos and music, a poster, and so on.
Some of the limitations that our research encountered include how confident are teachers with using ICT? Teachers' computer literacy. Interviewing participants was not easy due to COVID lockdown and restrictions. Changes in teacher preferences and skills and opinion, curriculum and policy, and ICT. Deeper and broader investigation. We are not experts, and due to time limitations, we could not research other aspects of the main question. Students' involvement. And lastly, one of our members withdrew from the group without giving us notice and made us rearrange everything once again. Lastly, what can we do to improve our research? Involving students in our research can greatly help, since we are trying to engage them in classrooms and they are the main subjects. We should look into other methods of engagement, such as project-based learning. We could use various data collection methods, such as classroom observation or artifacts. We can get a clearer picture of effectiveness of pedagogies for engagement through observation. Larger scale studies can be conducted with teachers and students from various demographic groups and KLAs, and answering questions that have emerged from this study and use them to follow up and expand the studies, such as problem-based pedagogy and student engagement in various subjects. We hope this presentation was insightful, and thank you for listening. The following slides contain our references.